This is Trump problem. They're lying. This is a problem of their own making. What else have I learned?
To help them by putting good policies in place and getting away from these failed policies that have been implemented by the Biden administration and that are leading to this crisis on our border. Thanks.
It's costing about $800 a day per child. If we don't change the pull factors, go back to the Remain in Mexico policy where they can't apply for asylum here, send the unaccompanied minor children back to their home country, there will be 250,000 people a month coming.
Problems here at the border. So this crisis is because this administration would not listen to good advice.
The United States and the Vice President of the United States need to do what we just did. They need to come down here, they need to listen, and they need to learn. Here's what I've learned. We have an upside-down border policy in America.
Forced error on the part of the Biden administration, and when you look at what underpins it, it's that caustic political environment we've got, that if one side is doing it, and it happens to be going well, the other side wants to undo it.
Today we went to the Donna facility, and what we saw were young people crammed in like sardines, something none of us would want for any of our own children. And as we tried and did video what was happening there to share with the country and the world, the Biden administration censors tried to stop us. Yesterday, President Biden held a press conference, and he said that the great majority of families who come here illegally are being sent back. That's not true, and either he doesn't know it or won't admit it to the American people.
Those signs that he was talking about, it's a big old yellow arrow. I called it the Biden arrow, showing illegal immigrants how to come into this country. But I've been down the border.
What did we learn last night? There's a trail on our side of the border with markers placed by the federal government to show illegal immigrants where to go. That we're transporting people who pay to get here the last mile with your taxpayer dollar. It's the biggest issue facing the country in many ways right now. So what have I learned? They knew. If the Trump administration had been told something and they did the opposite and it blew up in their face, everybody would be asking the Trump administration, what did you know and when did you know it? So I'm going to help you here with your reporting. Mr. Hastings, who's a two-star Border Patrol leader, told us that he briefed transition members of the Biden administration as to what would happen if you do away with the Remain in Mexico policy. He told us they briefed the Biden administration what would happen if you changed the Title 42 laws to allow unaccompanied children to come here and not be sent back home. Everything they said would happen.
We have open borders on the southern border. There's no doubt. And by the way, the people coming in who are released immediately almost, they're not tested at all.
Learned that Joe Biden, the president, made the problem worse yesterday. This was a nightmare press conference. He told everybody, don't worry, we got crowded facilities. We're going to build 5,000 more beds in Texas at a military base. So how does that play in Central America? We're going to expand the number of people they can take. He says when a child has a phone number on their wrist, we're going to call the family member and unite that family. This is uniting illegal immigration.
Anybody mentioned the fact that we had to slow down because there was a dead body in the water just upstream here. There's nothing humane about that treatment. Nothing whatsoever.
Told that they were advised more than once not to change the Remain in Mexico policy. They didn't take that advice. So we have a crisis at the border because this administration wouldn't listen to the people that had tens and tens and tens of years of experience.
We'll be back in the Rio Grande Valley. It is terrific that John and I were able to bring 18 senators down to Texas, down to the valley to see firsthand the crisis that is unfolding here. All of us today witnessed the Biden cages. What is occurring here on the border is heartbreaking, and it is a tragedy. You know, as we stand by the banks of the Rio Grande, we have an army of TV cameras here. It is striking that not a single one of these cameras is allowed in the Donna facility. We requested that media accompany us in the facility. The Biden administration said no. The Trump administration had allowed media inside facilities like that. The Obama administration had allowed media inside facilities like that. The George W. Bush administration had. The Bill Clinton administration had. But the Biden administration wants to hide what is going on here. Not only that, but a number of us took pictures and took videos because the American people have a right to know what is happening here. And the Biden administration sent down political handlers to try to keep silent, to try to keep the American people not knowing what's going on. The Donna facility is a giant tent city built with a capacity of 250. It has nearly 4,000 people in it. We saw cages after cages after cages of little girls, of little boys, lying side by side, touching each other, covered with reflective emergency blankets. There was no 6-foot space. There was no 3-foot space. There wasn't a 3-inch space between the children lined up one after the other after the other. And children as young as infants. We saw playpens with infants and toddlers playing. We also saw a group of children who just today tested positive for COVID-19. The Donna facility alone reports roughly 10% of the individuals being held there are testing positive for COVID-19. Rates dramatically higher than the U.S. population, and the Biden administration is taking people who are testing positive for COVID-19 and locking them in cages side by side. This is inhumane, it is wrong, and it is the direct consequence of policy decisions by the Biden administration to stop building the wall, to return to catch and release, and to end the stay in Mexico policy. A number of us are releasing those photographs and releasing those videos so the American people can see what's happening here. This needs to stop. It is a crisis, it is a tragedy, and it is a man-made crisis. This was avoidable, this was preventable. And regardless of your party, Republican or Democrat, you should look at what's going on here and say enough is enough, this must stop.